Welcome to Razzball Radio on Monday, July 14th. Razzball Radio, of course, here on the Fantasy Sports Network. Breaking news, Dan Uggla has been suspended for a game. How are you going to replace him? To answer that question and other kind of shenanigans here, it is All-Star Week, so it's all filler this week. No, I'm kidding. We got a good show for you. Sky is joining us, Sky_Razzball.com. Hi, Sky.
Hey, yeah. They decided after seeing how well I did in the futures game for Razzball to call me up for today. At least give me a cup of coffee.
Yeah, usually Gray joins us on Monday, but with the All-Star break, Gray is very high maintenance. We had to give him the week off, so Sky is pinch hitting. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. A little bit of news. I was joking, of course, about Dan Uggla. But before we talk about some players, let's talk real quick about the futures game, which took place yesterday. I don't know if you heard the rumble out of Chicago, but that was Cubbies Nation rejoicing after Javi Baez went yard in the sixth inning with a two-run dong in the futures game. Anything else you saw of interest yesterday, Sky?
Yeah. I didn't actually get to watch the game, but I did hear Joey Gallo in batting practice hit a ball so hard that it broke through the Earth's hemisphere and came back down and destroyed a small Minnesota county.
That is scientifically accurate, no matter what other people tell you. That happened.
Of course, I'm using hyperbole at this point, but...
Hold on, Sky, are you on a ship or something? Because you seem to be moving back and forth. And you just try and
stay awake because my coffee didn't work this morning.
Listen, man, I don't want to hear... You don't get high maintenance on me. Don't get high maintenance on me. Okay.
But, everyone was talking about Joey Gallo this weekend. He crushed one out during batting practice, actually cleared the stadium, which everyone knows Minnesota Stadium is huge, and ended up crushing some poor guy's car window. But I'm sure he got the ball sign, so don't feel too bad for him. But that's a name that everyone kind of knows about. I think there was a name that everyone should know about, and I do believe he'll get a chance this summer here. If not by late August, possibly earlier. His name is Kenny Vargas, and I think I'm saying that right.
I wasn't going to lead in with that, but now that you're running the show, you just let me know how you want to take this.
Just follow me, Nick. Follow the train.
Follow Sky, and all will be well. Yeah, Kenny Vargas, he's 24 years old. He is AB 6'5", 275.
Yes.
But he's kind of blocked at first base in Minnesota, which seems kind of funny to say. The way the Twinkies are playing, no one should be blocking anybody. What's the story with Kenny Vargas?
He's at 24 years old, or he will be here in August. Like you said, he is a mammoth of a man. Definitely a huge power guy. With their signing of Kendrys Morales, it makes even less sense now that you look at him sitting down there on the farm, and also they have Joe Mauer at first base. So it is a bit of a head-scratcher, but they're also currently last in their division. They've got to start selling parts. I mean, they're in one of the worst divisions in the American League in terms of records that are going to win out. They're only 10.5 back, but in last place. There's no chance they're going to be able to keep this up. So I got to see a move of guys like Kendrys Morales and maybe even Josh Willingham. He's even talked about saying he would be willing to play outfield just to get a chance to play up with the big club. He went 1 for 2 with a ringing double in the futures game, and a lot of people have compared his swing to David Ortiz.
You can't compare a minor leaguer to David Ortiz. That's just unfair to the guy.
Well, to be fair, David Ortiz wasn't David Ortiz for the first couple of years he was in the league, so there could still be some growing pains here. He is a power hitter. Power hitters take a little bit to progress, but there's a lot of ringing endorsement for this kid right now, and I'm interested.
Okay, keep an eye on Kenny Vargas. By the way, it's just kind of a grab bag today. We're not necessarily talking deep sleepers, which Sky usually covers. Sky, can I ask the next question, or would you like the pleasure?
I don't know, Nick. Yeah, I think we'll let this one go. That's fine.
I'm going to throw some numbers at you, and I want you to try and figure out if you can figure it out.
All right.
85, 89, 145, 127, 135, and 110. That is a 115 average over the past 6 seasons. What am I talking about?
Prior to Cougs, Greg's average woman age of dating.
115 games played over the last 6 years is the average for Carlos Gonzalez.
Sounds about right.
Isn't that shocking? Well, it's not shocking because he's always hurt. But what's shocking is that this guy's consistently a first rounder. He just can't stay healthy.
It's kind of mind numbing to me as well. Maybe he should talk a little bit with Ryan Braun, or he should have been for a while, seeing if he could send in a little P with him. That's part of what kept Ryan Braun on the field and healthy and clicking.
How about just some yoga? I'm sure there's a lot of yoga in Denver.
No one needs Giovanni Gallardo around, not even in Denver. Carlos Gonzalez is finally back from the DL, which means hopefully you'll have a month of him hitting hot so that you can sell him. And I'm not joking on that. I don't see him staying healthy. Colorado's not in it. All it's going to take is one minor ding or scratch, and he's going to go back on the shelf for them. He's 28. There's no reason for them to waste a season of his future production on a season that's already lost. So, if he comes back and he's hitting well in redraft leagues, you move him. I'd be willing to move him for 75 cents on the dollar. Obviously, you want the dollar for dollar back, and if you can get it, good for you. But yeah, I'd be moving him as fast as possible.
Okay, here is the takeaway. Sell Fargas, a.k.a. Cargo, a.k.a. Carlos Gonzalez, for whatever you can get. Well, not whatever you can get, but as soon as he gets hot, trade him quickly. But the second takeaway, and I can't stress this enough, don't draft him next year. I don't care if you think you're getting value if he falls to the second round, although maybe even after this year it'll be a third rounder. Don't touch him. He's not worth the headache. You with me on that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I never say draft, never say never draft a player. It is all about value. If he does slip down, the talent's there. So I'd be willing to start sniffing around the fourth or fifth. But that's probably my pushing point.
Watch where he's going to get ranked next year. Just watch. All right. Listen, we got to go to break. Is that okay with you? Or did you want to let me know when it was time?
Does that mean I get some coffee? Where's my secretary?
We'll be executive assistant. Come on, man. It's 2014. This is Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. We'll be back. Sky might not be, but we will be.
Uh-oh.
Welcome back to Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. I am joined by Sky. Follow him on Twitter at Sky_Razzball. This is a bright guy. Don't talk to him about football rankings, though, because last year he had Doug Martin _1. But for baseball, Sky is a great hookup. He knows his daily fantasy. Of course, we play every day at DraftKings. As well, he is great for deep leaguers. Sky_Razzball. Hope I didn't overhype you there, brother.
No, you did a fine job of throwing that to the ground with the Doug Martin's part. So don't worry, you're completely covered.
Yeah, good stuff. Hey, real quick. So this week it's the All-Star break. So I thought, got a little bit of extra time on my hands. Maybe I'll do a little research now that I'm here in America. I got to get my driver's license. I should get to know local laws. Yeah. And I found a couple that were pretty interesting. I don't know if this is interesting to you, but did you know in the great state of Wisconsin, it is illegal to serve apple pie in a restaurant unless it's covered in cheese? All right.
I'm going to have to put that down as some kind of weird book that you found in some as an ancient relic somewhere from like the 1800s.
All right. Trevor Bauer of the Cleveland Tribe. This guy's been up and down. He had a great outing over the weekend, but it's looked the last 4 or 5 starts. He might actually be getting some of his control. He was averaging about 2 walks his last 4 starts before yesterday. But here's the thing. In July, he only has a 1.29 whip, which is still not very good. So even though it looks like he might be coming around, he's on a hot streak. For him, 1.29 whip, I'm not buying. You buying?
Obviously it all depends on league size and what's going on. I look at him as strictly a stream option at this point. A lot of people got really excited this weekend after he went 6 2/3 and K 10. But underneath that, he gave up 8 hits and 3 walks. That's a 1.64 whip. He's going to be killing your ratios on that end. Most of his starts, he's given up 3 to 4 earned runs. The Ks are nice. He's averaging over 8 per, but he's also walking 3+ per. And to kind of put that in perspective, earlier in the year, Tim Lincecum was putting up similar numbers, and no one wanted to touch him with regards to having an 8+ and a 3+, and then a 4+ ERA. So, to me, unless it's a dynasty or a keeper or AO only type, I'm not really interested other than streaming against the perfect opponent. And the White Sox were that. So,
Did you know in the state of Maine it is illegal to step off and walk off an airplane while it's in flight? Your tax dollars at work, America. Arismendi Alcantera got called up this week. He was supposed to just replace Darwin Barney of the Cubs at second base while he was on paternity leave, but he has been hotter than a $2 pistol. Obviously, he's staying up. I kind of looked at his minor league numbers. Gray scoffed at this a bit, but a little bit Jose Reyes light. There's some power there. Yeah, I think he had, off the top of my head, 10 homers in the minors, something like maybe 11 triples, 25-ish doubles. Gave you over 300 average. So pop and speed, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. His K rate's gonna keep his average down.
Right.
I don't see him being a 300, but he could easily hit 260 to 270. But when you're hitting doubles, triples, and home runs and stealing bags, I don't care. And by the way, hashtag humble brag. I did tell you back on May 29th that would be the first Cubby of this young set to get called up to be playing in the major leagues. And lo and behold, here we are. And he's playing with the big boys.
I'm going to start calling you the Oracle, the messy-haired Oracle.
The messy-haired Messiah.
You know what? This is why the show does not have a hair gel sponsor, Sky. It's all because of you. You're bringing us down.
You need to get us a Sports Clip sponsorship.
Hey, Sports Clips, for real. That's where I get my hair cut. Sports Clips, where are you? Okay, throw me out a fun fact. You said you had some fun facts today. Throw one out at me.
Yeah. Fun fact. Well, I don't know. It depends on if you drafted the other guys, whether or not this is fun. Of the players that were consensus top 10 draft picks coming into this year, only one of them has kept or maintained their value according to the Razzball player rater.
And who would that be?
That would be our good friend Trout. Even Miguel Cabrera is having a top 50 type start, but not a top 10 type start.
You're good friends with Mike Trout. Can you hook me up with some tickets in Anaheim?
Yeah, totally. We Westies, we stay together.
Hey, I got a question about that for you, because I had this conversation with Gray. We were kind of re-ranking or pre-ranking the 2015 first round. And it was because Jose Abreu had gotten off to such an amazing start. 29 homers at the break. Unbelievable. Gray was saying he had him third overall. So I said, which is, you know what? There's an argument to be made for that. My issue was he had Miguel Cabrera 7th or 8th in the first round. Now, here's my point. Sure, he's having a slight down season, but a hot August, and he's back to the Miggy we know and love. Yeah. Second of all, this is one of the most consistent hitters I have ever seen. If I had the first pick next year, I might even take him over Mike Trout, because Trout's evolving into a power hitter, so maybe not Trout. But my argument this year, I took Miguel Cabrera everywhere over Mike Trout, because you pop a hammy as a speedster, you're up a creek. So give me those Popeye forearms. Have you seen the forearms on Miguel Cabrera before? Sweet mother of God.
Yeah, well, he's got hams all over the place. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, where are you taking Miggy next year?
Miggy's still... That's hard. I still think Miggy's top 5, and I still put him in my top 3. I understand the Jose Abreu love, considering I'm pretty sure he's on pace if he had a full season for 50 home runs. I haven't looked at those stats. But, we also had Chris Davis, who went off for 50 last year, and he's kind of riding a little lower on the radar this year, so to speak. So, like you said, the consistency with Miggy is there. I think the main thing about Miggy is his swing dedicates itself to being a 300 hitter. So at worst, right now he's on pace for about a 25 home run season. He's had those before. He's still been a consistently good hitter. I can't argue with that. I still would have him in my top 3.
All right, we're going to go to break here. Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. We'll be back with more Sky and maybe a couple more state facts. Why not? It's the All-Star break. We need fella. We are back here at Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. I am your host, Nick Capozzi. This handsome man right here is Sky, who handles a lot of things for us over at Razzball headquarters on the West Coast. Kolten Wong, this guy has been hotter than ghost pepper sauce He's got 5 homers and 3 steals since being off the DL last week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
are you buying this? Because his ownership at the beginning of last week was 10%. Midweek was up to 12%. Then it got up to 14%. You buying Kolten Wong here? Is this real, or is this just the epitome of a hot schmatato?
It's definitely not a hot schmatato, but I'm definitely not buying the power either. I don't, he's not going to stay on this crazy hot streak he's on in terms of power, but in terms of all the other stuff that he is known for, in terms of stealing bags, scoring runs, and hitting for average, I definitely see that on the horizon. I'm definitely very interested. I think he's going to be a major cog on some teams down the stretch for fantasy purposes. A lot of people look at, unfortunately, the full season of stats, and I think he's only hitting 242 for the year. But that negates the fact that he was Rookie of the Month in May. He got off to a really rough start, and then he went on the DL. And before he went on the DL, he had a week's worth of just very poor production because of a hurt shoulder. So the season stats don't tell you what this kid can do. What he did in May and what he's doing now is telling you that, and you should definitely want to own him.
You definitely want to own him. You definitely also want to know, if you're ever traveling to the state of Hawaii, it is illegal to put a coin in someone's ear. Okay, so last week it got buzzy with Jimmy Nelson getting called up for the Brew Crew. The guy is built like a Clydesdale. He is a big man. He will get Ks, but his whip's going to make you a little bit nauseous, I think. What are your thoughts on big Jimmy Nelson?
Yeah, he's kind of a tough call. He's got a little bit of the Bauer problem going on, at least with what a majority of his minor league records suggest. But his minor league numbers this year were a little bit different. He was walking less than 3 per. I want to say he was around 2.57 based on balls per 9, which is pretty healthy when you got a K rate over 9. As Gray has mentioned before, if you have gap of between 6 Ks to walks, you're probably going to have a good season. Well, he was pushing closer to 7 down in the minors. If he can pull that up with him, I'm definitely buying. He K'd 5 in 4.1 over the weekend, despite kind of getting blown up off by the Cardinals. I'm picking him up. If you're in a league where you're willing to pick up Trevor Bauer, you should definitely be willing to pick up Jimmy Nelson. He is NL, which is better than throwing a guy out there in the AL. And the K rates.
Plus, with Bauer, you're getting crazy. So Jimmy Nelson might be sane. Maybe not, but
last time I checked, they aren't doing a long toss between him and Bauer down there in Cleveland. So that's good to know.
Listen, Jimmy Nelson is so big he could long toss Trevor Bauer. Did you know this? That's what I said.
Long toss of Trevor Bauer.
Say, what about a who now? Did you know that the guy who leads the major leagues in steals with 43, Dee Gordon, did not even make it onto consensus draft boards this year?
I did know that.
Billy Hamilton was going 4th round. Dee Gordon was going undrafted.
Yeah, no, it was, which I really enjoyed, considering I drafted Dee Gordon on 6 of my 7 teams this year. He was one of my guys that he was one of those why not picks past the 20th round for me, and I didn't understand why no one was hopping on board. But no, I enjoy the fact of when a guy that has been basically panned and left for dead ends up showing up and making an all-star team and leading the league in steals. I think it's kind of awesome.
Awesome. You know what else would be awesome? Here's what you got to do. Is there a Sports Clips in Eugene?
There is one in Eugene.
Okay. I want you to get the MVP experience. I want you to tape it all on your phone and send that to me. We're going to send it into Sports Clips.
I'll wear Google Glass. How about that?
Oh, dude. Do you have a pair?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
But if you get me some as a sponsor for Razzball.
Yeah, I don't think Google is going to talk to us right now. Hey, did you know in the state of Iowa it is illegal for a man with a mustache to kiss a woman in public? That is not. These are not jokes. These are actually from dumblaws.com. Thanks to them, by the way.
Isn't Grace Kook from Iowa? What the hell do you do when they go?
She's from Indiana. Cougs is from the great state of Indiana. So,
stay away,
Bray, just scratch Des Moines off your list. Okay, a couple more things to get to here. David Price, his peripherals are way better than his actual statistics. I still think there's a good chance this guy's going to get traded. In fact, he got scratched with an illness the other day. I thought he might be getting shipped out of town. What's the story?
Yeah, well, he got scratched with an illness, quote unquote, and then there's the I'm definitely telling you this hashtag HugWatch. That's that sounds crazy, but when David Price got taken out of the game over the weekend, there was a huge round of hugs from everyone in the dugout, and
Hmm.
that's usually a sign that a guy just got moved. And I had some breaking news this morning to find out that he actually was on the move to the Angels, but they couldn't figure out how to get the parts together. And to
Come
be
on, are you
honest,
serious? Are you breaking rumors here?
that
Who do you
that's
think
that
you are, Buster Olney? Love
no,
you,
no, I would have
Buster.
had to wait a day and then I would have busted that. No.
Do you know what the supposed listen, I don't want to talk about rumors, but again, since it's All-Star break, let's just throw all our rules out the door.
I mean, who the heck do the Angels even have in terms of trade pieces to get David Price? I think that'd be the bigger question. I mean,
That's a good argument.
they've got a lot of good names, but they're overpriced. I mean, the Rays aren't going to trade for an old broken Josh Hamilton or an old broken Albert Pujols.
Throw this
So,
out at you. Cole Calhoun, Garrett Richards, prospect or two.
yeah, that could get it done. Although that's an even more crowded outfield than I think when Will Myers comes back, they're definitely going to give him another
Oh,
shot.
that's going to be a problem for Madden. Managing platoons. Man.
But anyway, yeah. No, I could definitely see that if that's what they do really need
Hey,
pitching
Sky.
to up in the West.
Yes, they
Yep.
do. But I got to go, buddy. I don't want to go, but I got to
Oh,
let you go because we got to wrap
oh,
this show. By the
all
way,
right.
guys, if you're coming out on the Razzball tour, we are, of course, hitting 32 NFL cities in 32 straight days to host 32 draft parties. Sky's coming out from the Chicago to Denver leg. So if you want to bring some gel or maybe a comb for
Yeah.
Sky, you can do that. Of course, get more information at razzballtour.com. Thanks for joining us today on Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. We got some special guests tomorrow, so you definitely want to tune in. Follow me on Twitter at Nick Capozzi, at Sky_Razzball.